The rain had been falling since before dawn, a soft, endless rhythm against rooftops and glass, like the heartbeat of a quiet morning. Outside, the sky was silver and still, and puddles rippled with every gentle drop. In a small apartment above a bakery, Lily lay beneath her quilt, eyes half open, listening to the rain, to the hum of the world still half asleep. The sound wrapped around her like a blanket. She stretched beneath the covers, arms heavy with warmth. The air smelled faintly of lavender and clean linen. No alarms, no rush, just calm. She breathed in the cool air and exhaled softly, matching the rhythm of rain. Slowly, she rose, slipped her feet into slippers, and padded toward the little kitchen. Outside, the light was pale gray, spilling gently across wooden floors. The kettle waited on the stove. She filled it with water, listening to the hollow rush and the first hiss of heat. Her favorite tea leaves swirled in the pot, releasing soft notes of earth and comfort. Steam curled in slow spirals toward the ceiling. She leaned on the counter and gazed out the fogged window, watching the rain slide down in silver threads. Across the street, a white cat sat in a window, tail curled neatly around its paws. It blinked at Lily, calm and unbothered by the storm. She smiled and lifted her cup in greeting. The first sip filled her chest with warmth. Time seemed to pause. The world reduced to quiet breaths and the steady hush of water on glass. When her tea was gone, she rinsed the cup and reached for her sweater, soft, cream-colored, heavy with comfort. Her yellow umbrella waited by the door. The moment she stepped outside, the cool mist kissed her cheeks. She opened the umbrella, its bright color glowing against the gray morning. Rain tapped gently above her head, steady and kind. Her boots splashed in puddles as she walked down the cobbled lane. The town was still waking. Porch lights glowed through fog, and smoke curled lazily from chimneys. The air smelled of wet leaves and coffee. She breathed deeply, heart light. Ahead, the painted door of her bakery appeared through the mist, green, blue, and gold, shining softly in the rain. She climbed the small steps, key in hand. The lock clicked, and the familiar scent met her: flour, sugar, and faint traces of yesterday's cinnamon. She hung her umbrella by the door, shook the rain from her coat, and turned on the lights. The bakery came alive in a golden glow, warm and safe against the gray world outside. She tied her apron, brushed flour from the counter, and began her morning ritual. Flour fell through her fingers like soft snow. Butter melted against the warmth of her hands. The dough formed beneath her palms, slow and alive. Every movement was calm, steady, filled with care. The rain outside became her rhythm, soft, constant, patient. The oven hummed, its warmth spreading through the room. Soon the scent of cinnamon rolls filled the air, sweet, spiced, and comforting. Lily closed her eyes and breathed it in. Outside, the windows fogged, turning the world to watercolor. Inside, the air glowed with light and sugar. The bakery felt like a dream that never rushed. The bell above the door chimed softly. Seamus entered, brushing rain from his hat. "Morning, Lily," he said. voice kind and worn. She smiled, already pouring his coffee. He took his seat by the window, newspaper folded, eyes wandering to the falling rain. They didn't need many words. The silence between them was warm and full. The timer chimed softly. Lily slipped on her mitts, opened the oven, and the scent of sweet butter drifted out. The cinnamon rolls were golden, their tops shining with melted glaze. Steam rose in thin curls as she set the tray down. Seamus smiled without speaking. She placed a roll before him, and his eyes softened. Outside, the rain whispered on the glass. Slow and steady, he tore the roll in half, and the inside steamed like breath. Perfect, he murmured. Lilia's smile was quiet. Content. Around them, the bakery hummed softly, the ticking of the clock, the hum of the oven, the faint hiss of rain. Moments stretched like taffy, sweet and endless. It was a morning made of warmth and quiet company. One by one, familiar faces appeared. A mother and her child, two neighbors, a painter carrying a dripping umbrella. The air filled with quiet laughter and the clinking of cups. The windows fogged from the heat and breath of kindness. Lily moved among them like a melody, her steps light, her voice soft. No one hurried. No one wished to leave. Hours slipped away unnoticed. Outside, the rain deepened, falling in thicker waves. Inside, the scent of baked bread wrapped around the room. Lily wiped her hands, leaned against the counter, and listened. The sound of rain was her companion, constant, soothing, alive. She thought of new recipes, pumpkin pie, perhaps, or apple tarts glazed with honey. She gathered her ingredients: pumpkins, spices, sugar, and cream. The orange flesh glowed beneath her knife, and the air filled with the aroma of nutmeg and clove. Each stir of her spoon sent ripples of scent through the bakery. She poured the golden filling into its crust, and while it baked, she gazed through the window at the soft blur of the town beyond. Children passed by, their boots splashing in puddles. Their laughter echoed faintly through the glass. A cat darted beneath a bench, tail flicking. The world outside was painted in silver rain, but the bakery glowed golden from within. When the oven chimed, Lily drew the pie out carefully, steam rising like silk. The scent was deep and sweet. She sliced a piece, set it on a plate, and shared it with Seamus. They spoke little, savoring the taste and the moment. Beyond the windows, raindrops slid in slow trails. One caught a glimmer of lamplight before vanishing. Time softened again, as if the world were breathing with them in and out, in and out, slow and calm. Afternoon faded to evening. The clouds thickened. The rain softened to mist. Lily tidied the tables, washed her hands, and smiled at the small traces of flour still clinging to her sleeves. The bakery was her heart, her rhythm. It glowed softly under the fairy lights, safe and timeless. She whispered a quiet thank you into the air. She took her coat and umbrella, stepping out into the quiet street. The door closed behind her with a soft click. The bakery's windows glowed warmly, reflected in the puddles at her feet. She walked home through the mist, her steps soft, her heart slow. Every drop of rain felt familiar, like a whispered memory of peace. The rain followed her home like a gentle song. Drops tapped against her umbrella, steady and soft. The streets shimmered with reflections, windows, lamps, soft glows of gold and white. Her breath mingled with a cool mist, forming tiny clouds that disappeared into the night. Each step she took felt lighter, slower, wrapped in peace. When she reached her door, she paused. The small light in her hallway spilled through the frosted glass, warm and welcoming. She stepped inside, hung her coat, and leaned the umbrella against the wall. The air was still, except for the faint whisper of rain beyond the window. She smiled to herself, home again. Safe, quiet, content. She lit a small candle on the kitchen table. Its flame danced softly, flickering gold across her teacup and the curve of her hands. She filled the kettle one more time, listening to the low hum as it began to heat. The sound of water warming, rain falling, and the candle crackling was its own gentle symphony. Steam curled from her cup, carrying the familiar scent of black tea. She wrapped both hands around it and breathed in. The first sip was deep, smooth, comforting. The taste of roasted leaves and faint caramel filled her senses. She closed her eyes, letting the warmth move through her chest, softening every thought, every muscle, every trace of the long day. Beyond the window, the world blurred. Drops slid down the glass, shimmering trails of silver. A single street lamp glowed on the corner, its light bending through the mist. The sound of rain softened into something more than sound. It became presence, like a hand resting gently on the shoulder, steady and kind. Lily rose and drifted toward her window seat, pulling the blanket from the back of the chair. She wrapped it round herself, tucking her feet beneath. The cushion held the warmth from the day, faint but sweet. She watched the raindrops gather and fall, one after another, in perfect rhythm. The bakery's lights below flickered faintly through the drizzle. She thought of the laughter, the smell of cinnamon and sugar, the sound of the door chime. Every face, every cup, every soft word lingered like a candle's glow behind her eyes. It had been a simple day, nothing extraordinary, yet it filled her heart completely. She felt thankful for the rain, the quiet, and the small beauty of ordinary things. The tea cooled beside her, untouched now. Her breathing slowed. Her eyes grew heavy. The rain outside thinned to a hush, only the lightest drops brushing the glass. Time melted away, and all that remained was comfort. The world felt smaller, softer, as if it were folding in to cradle her in sleep. Her head tilted gently against the cushion. The candle's flame fluttered once, then steadied. Shadows swayed like a lullaby across the walls. Lily's last thought was of morning, of light through rain, of tea and dough, of the warmth waiting below. A smile touched her lips as she drifted between wakefulness and dream. Outside, the rain whispered on, endless, tender, serene. The town slept, the bakery rested, and Lily, wrapped in her blanket, sank deeper into the soft rhythm of the storm. The air hummed with peace. Every sound, every breath, every heartbeat slowed. In the quiet warmth of her little home, she finally let go and slept. Whisper, "Good night" from Lily's rainy day bakery.